Hey guys, I'm back and I want to read to you about Dr. King. Dr. King was very important historical figure in our history. And Dr. King believed that all people, no matter what they looked like, how they acted, what color their skin was, what color their hair was, where they came from, that everyone was equal, that everyone had the right to be treated the same. I agree with Dr. King 100%. Everyone should be able to eat wherever they want to eat, get a drink wherever they want to get a drink, have a seat on a bus wherever they want to have a seat on a bus, own a home, whatever they want to do. Everyone get a job. Everyone should have the right and be treated equally based on their knowledge and their ability to do a position. So, Dr. King, very important, but it wasn't always like that. It's really sad. It wasn't always like that. So, this is Martin Luther King Jr. And you can see he's standing in front of a bunch of microphones. That's because he's giving a big speech. And I'm going to show you on the back. This was his Million Man March speech. So he was in Washington, D.C. That's the capital. That's where our president lives. And this is Dr. King. And he was standing at the Lincoln Memorial, which is a huge memorial to one of our former presidents, President Lincoln, who also believed that people should be treated equal. This is what they call the mall. This is the reflection pond. And there is the Washington Monument. And way back here, way back there, you can see the Capitol building because it overlooks the Capitol building. And these were all the people who came to listen to Dr. King give his very famous speech, which was, I have a dream. He had a dream that everyone would be treated equally. So this is going to be hard to read, so I'm going to kind of read it and then flip the page so you can see the pictures. Today, people of all races celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There's always a parade in Savannah. I hope that you went to it. I hope you were there and you celebrated. And the reason they celebrate is because it's Dr. King's birthday. But when Dr. King was a boy, he couldn't even go to the same school as the white children because Dr. King had brown skin. And like Miss Lee, I have peach or white skin, so we couldn't go to school together, which was really sad. I mean, I don't understand why people would think that way, but they did, and they wouldn't allow them to go to school together. He couldn't play in the same parks, so you can see that he had to stay out while these children were allowed in. Now, that does not seem very fair either. It's a park, for goodness sake. Let's go play together, right? That's what I think. He couldn't eat in the same restaurants. So he was not allowed to go into the restaurant and get ice cream because he had to go to a restaurant that allowed only children with brown or black skin, while the little people or the families that had white skin, they could go in there. Again, not fair. Not what we believe today. He couldn't drink at the same water fountains as white people. So look, even our water fountains were labeled. This was where only the people with white skin could drink. And this was the fountain where only the people with, they called it colored skin. I call it brown or black skin. Different colored skin. That's where they had to drink. They weren't allowed to share the same water fountain. Now that does not make any sense to Mrs. Lee, even though today we're just pushing our water bottles there because of COVID. We have to be safe. But his mother always told him, Martin Luther, don't you forever forget that you are just as good as anybody else. That's the truth. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter if you have red hair, black hair, purple hair, blue hair, blonde hair. Doesn't matter. You're just as good as someone else. And if you put your mind to something, you can do it. It might be harder for you, but you can do it. It might be harder because you don't think the way everyone thinks. It might be harder because you might have a problem using your hands, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. You can do anything you set your mind to. Young Martin believed that. He believed it so much that he grew up to teach the message to the world. He told everyone that equality was the answer, treating everyone the same. And they all united and they agreed with him. And they said, yes, you're right, but you have to do it peacefully. You can't go out there and hit people and scream at people and punch people. That's not the answer. You have to do it peacefully. They protested peacefully. Dr. King said, you are just as good as anybody. And many people believed in him. Again, Dr. King is correct. You are just as good as anybody else. Black people sat quietly at lunch counters just to show that they belonged there. So they came in and they sat down and they said, we're not leaving until you feed us because we belong here. And they do. They definitely belong there. Absolutely. You all belong. We should all be allowed to go to a restaurant. We should all be allowed to go to McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or Applebee's, wherever we want to go. They refused to ride the buses that made Black people sit in the back of the bus. Now, you should be allowed to sit. You know what? I like to sit in the back of the bus. You know why? It's bumpy. It's bumpy and bumpy and bumpy. But you know what? You should be able to sit anywhere in the bus where you want to sit. If you want to sit at the front, in the middle, or the back, it should be your choice. Your choice. Not somebody telling you what you can and can't do. That should be up to you. If there's a seat available, you should be allowed to sit on it. They walked alone into schools to prove that Black children had a right to learn sitting next to the white children. And they absolutely did. I'm so glad they fixed this because our classroom would not be what it is. We wouldn't have some kids in our rooms, and that would just make me so sad because I love you all, and it would make me sad if one of you wasn't there. So I'm so thankful that these rules were changed. I'm so thankful people united and protested peacefully so that they could make these rules be changed. And because so many people believed in Dr. King, at last they changed the country's laws. And they said, we're all equal. We all can be a part of this. Anyone can be anything they want to be and eat where they want to eat and do what they want to do. Children of all races now learn at the same school. That's the way it is in our room, and that's the way it should be. That's it. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? We all learn from each other. We all have so many things to offer. It's so nice that we can work together and learn from each other. They play in the same neighborhood parks. Again, fabulous that we get to play together. We all love to play. Let's swing and climb and slide and play football and baseball. How fabulous is that? They sit wherever they want to sit on the bus, whether it's the front or the back or the middle. It doesn't matter. If the seat is available and you want to sit there, you can sit there. Anyone can sit there. They eat in the same restaurants. They drink at the same water fountains. So wonderful. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., children of all races now walk together as brothers and sisters. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Remember, there he is. A very important historical figure. He opened up the world for so many people. And I'm so excited. All right, have a great day. Bye, guys.